Hello and welcome to the first episode of Weekly News with the Institute for Natural Philosophy. Today we're joined by Ricardo Calvario. How are you, Ricardo?
Fine, thank you. Quite excited for this new format and for the news that you are bringing. Let's hear it.
Yeah, we're experimenting a bit with this new format. We will try to bring new articles and news every week for you to enjoy, from philosophy to archaeology to natural history to physics. So definitely leave a comment with any suggestions that you would like us to do so. Today I'm bringing a few articles from Mark Milligan pertaining to technology and archaeology. So the first article is why archaeology will be the next harbor for technology. It says here that we're entering a golden era of archaeological discoveries where technology will be at its core. One of the main tools transforming archaeology is LiDAR. The tool relies on laser sensors that can be deployed from air, providing 3D imagery of ruins, even the ones deeply buried in nature. I don't know about you, Ricardo, but I think a lot of people have LiDAR on their phones right now. Especially if you own one of those new iPhone models, you probably have even tried it. And I see a lot of researchers and even tourists going to like these ancient sites and doing LiDAR scans and posting them online, which I think is super interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It shows it's an advantage for us researchers that would not have access to this kind of high technology, let's call it so, because it allows us to see what is unseen otherwise. So I think it's amazing.
For example, here we have a scan of canopy revealing ancient Mayan ruins in Tikal, which is amazing that probably from this image, if you look it from above, it's filled with trees, so you can't see any of this. So it's very interesting.
Sorry, 2,100 square kilometers.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
That's huge.
Over 60,000 housing complexes, palaces, elevated highways, terraces, defensive walls, ramparts, and fortresses have been revealed in the Payton region of Guatemala, making it the largest LiDAR project carried out so far. And like you said, 2,100 square kilometers is a lot. Those were the mega urban webs of pre-industrial times, incredibly complex, highly urbanized, densely populated, and interconnected. Most recently, the aerial scanner has been used to investigate the ancient city of Teotihuacan, of what is now central Mexico. Researchers have used the technology to understand how Teotihuacan was laid out. The results have further exposed how the ancient city planners have led large-scale quarrying and excavation projects, including redirecting the San Juan and San Lorenzo rivers to enable Teotihuacan to be astronomically aligned.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So they changed rivers just to astronomically align the city and its structures. So there's a strong emphasis on significance related to functionality for sure. Otherwise,
absolutely,
they wouldn't take the trouble to do it. But also you read. Let me look at here in the screen. Large scale quarrying and excavation projects. But isn't this a civilization that it's not supposed to have means to do this sort of things, at least in this scale?
I mean, I'm one of the belief that the more and more we advance these technologies, and the more we are able to experiment with these new groundbreaking research technologies, the more we're going to find that some of the conventional explanations for some of these constructions and civilizations do not really match what was told to us. So I mean, in the early ages of the internet, there was this big explosion of like data and research, and specifically images that showed the general public pictures of these ancient sites that they probably would have never heard of if it weren't for the internet, right? And this is mainly one of the reasons why the ancient history alternative scene grew so much in the past few years. It's because of this proliferation of just physical evidence everywhere on the internet that you can actually see that a lot of these ancient cultures actually have a lot in common. So
yeah, but what we see here is one of two. That is, either they admit they have a higher capability than is recognized so far, or they have to say that these engineering projects are previous to these cultures. I don't see how they can escape that.
Moving on to another tool not to be overlooked is satellite imagery, which is also very interesting. Multispectral satellite imaging enables archaeologists to view different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum otherwise invisible to the naked eye, and also undetectable with photographic techniques. Soon, virtually unwrapping sites will become a reality. Instead of archaeologists carefully removing one layer at a time of analyzed sites over the course of years, the use of scanners will virtually enable excavating them in a matter of hours without disturbing the state of the archaeological remains.
Okay.
Which is just very crazy to me that they're able to even do this. They would be used to collect samples, for example, DNA testing, without disturbing the integrity of the site. I think this is good for the most part, but I would see some interesting outcomes of this. I mean, currently some of these sites are not open to the public. Currently they're under heavy security from ministries of antiquity. Could you imagine if they're not even excavated? If we only have, will we have access to the files? Will we have access to the data? I mean, it's all a big question mark. So
yeah, but what they're saying is they use bots, and these bots will go into the ground or merely scan the area from above. That's why you use bots. Do they spread bots on the surface and they can make multiple analysis like the probes that goes to other planets?
They say that it will perform archaeological operations while documenting each step of the process. So
that's what they do with probes, with space probes. It's
maybe a deep earth probe, or just these little tech worms that go into the substrate. And
but if you think about it, there is a machine, I don't know if it's a spectrometer or something like that, that can identify what material is it made. So it emits something to the material, and what it gets back, it can identify the material, exactly the material that the object is made of. So if they expand this technology to be able to beam the floor by that reading alone, if it has the range, it can identify exactly what they are going through, the layers. So it is dirt, if it is rock, if the rock, what kind of rock it is. So it can tell us a lot by these new technologies that you are showing here in this article. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, the article goes on to conclude that artificial intelligence will then produce an on-site report based on all the collected data, which would be then analyzed by researchers. It seems only logical that with the ongoing technological advancement, archaeology will become one of the most technologically and scientifically advanced fields.
Yeah, to whom, I wonder? To whom? Because if it is for the Simpsonian, well, we won't learn much, but than we know today. But we shall see, because it might happen that these are available. So if you remember, Michael Collins is doing he has a underground radar machine, doesn't he? Or he rented, I don't know, but he has a video with one of those machines, and he uses LiDAR all the time. So it might reach all of us for research independently. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
It gets as accessible to all, let's put it that way. Excellent article. Thank you, Guy.
I actually have the next article which goes further into this, which I think is very interesting, and it's called Artificial Intelligence Reveals Hundreds of Millions of Trees in the Sahara. You might enjoy this, Ricardo.
Yeah, this one I don't know.
In the area of West Africa, 30 times larger than Denmark, an international team led by University Copenhagen and NASA researchers have encountered over 1.8 billion trees and shrubs. The work was achieved through a combination of detailed satellite imagery provided by NASA and deep learning. They do so by feeding it thousands of images of various trees, so kind of like training the AI, and based upon the recognition of the tree shapes, the model can then automatically identify and map trees over large areas and thousands of images.
Well, you know what this reminds me? the targeting systems on the most advanced planes, because they're supposed to recognize certain shapes and identify them from multi-targets. So it seems like the same process, but applied to something that is really useful.
Yeah, I agree. And like it says here, the model needs only hours what would take thousands of humans several years to achieve. So it's kind of like a great time to be alive right now.
But how did it define the trees in the Sahara when there are no trees to be recognized? It has some sort of LiDAR, it recognizes under the sand. How does it work?
Yeah, from what I understand, it's trained on a whole bunch of images from different trees on different other locations, right? And then it takes satellite images from the Sahara and is able to identify each one of them because, I mean, the Sahara is huge. I think it says here, like, in an area of West Africa 30 times larger than Denmark. So it would take a lot of time for humans to do this, actually. And
so so if I think I understand this, they found 1.3 million square kilometers of areas where still exists trees, not trees from the past.
That's it.
Is that it?
Currently.
Trees that exist now. These trees exist now. Okay. I was understanding all wrong with my desire to see the Sahara green.
Yeah.
So
I also thought that was the main meaning behind the title, but it's kind of breaking this common notion that there's no trees in the Sahara Desert, because it says that until now most people thought that virtually none existed. So it's kind of like trying to break this common notion, right? I think it's very interesting.
That's how well we know our planet. That's how well we know our planet. Yeah.
Imagine when we can use like large scale technology like this to kind of scan the oceans and stuff like that. What is there waiting for to be discovered, right? So
yeah, I would like to see this on the next probe to Mars, because I bet it will recognize trees there. At least I have images from NASA of what do resemble like tree forests, different from Earth, but still tree-like. So I wonder if they recognize it as trees or not, and they say it's an error.
I've seen those pictures actually, and it's very eerie. It's very strange that they look just like regular trees from Earth. So. But I've seen those pictures. Okay, moving on to the last article here, we have underwater scans reveal lost submerged landscape. So, research from the Life on Edge project, a collaboration between University of Bradford and University of Split, have revealed a lost submerged landscape off the coast of Croatia using underwater scans. Using state-of-the-art underwater 3D seismic sensors, researchers have identified a network of ancient streams, rivers, hills, and geological features in the Adriatic Sea off the coast of Split, the second largest city in Croatia. Between 10,000 and 24,000 years ago, the sea levels were around 100 meters lower than present day, meaning vast areas of the Adriatic Sea were likely inhabited by people during the Mesolithic period. Vedran Barbaric, associate professor from the faculties of Humanities and Social Sciences in the University of Split, said, "We have the potential now to begin asking some really fascinating questions to understanding the archaeology and the culture in a much more holistic way. Our ultimate goal is to find human artifacts." The team plans to send divers down several of the identified sites in the hope of finding evidence of human activity.
Sure. Look, we said it many times, the future of archaeology passes largely from underwater explorations because of exactly that. 100 meters is a lot of land. If you consider that all the land where I live in a vast area is all about between 0 and 10 meters above water level, you can imagine how long this can extend and not exceed those 100 meters. So
oh, absolutely, yeah.
The whole Doggerland is way beneath 100 meters. So it's all about 20, 22, 25. I think the deepest they have is 50 meters. So 100 meters of water, it's a lot of land.
It's also interesting that it says there are beautifully preserved rivers and estuaries buried beneath what is now the seafloor.
Yes, there are.
So it indicates that they actually scan beneath the seafloor, right?
Sure. The thing is, they might be confusing sea rivers with long sea canyons, because if you remember, considering the catastrophe of about 4000 BC, around it, I'm not specifying the date, the waters of the ocean was thrown into the land, and then when they receded, the water of the ocean water was very lower. It was much lower than it used to be before the impact. So when the water was receding, the places where it conflagrated and united created these channels that look like rivers. You can see them in Porto. You can see them in the Tagus Basin, where it meets the sea. You can see them in Nazaré, that creates the largest waves in the world. It's the canyon of Nazaré. But mainly what I'm saying is they might be mistaking underwater rivers with this kind of places where the water receded and created this vast canyon-like, but can be more shallow, because these canyons don't survive long because of currents and underwater movements and so on. So it might be that.
Okay, and with that, we finished our first weekly news episode with the Institute for Natural Philosophy. We hope you enjoyed watching, and please like and subscribe and share if you'd like to see more content like this.